Okay.
So
Okay.
we're live in 3, 2, and 1.
Hello, good afternoon. This is Buzzline. I'm Jasper Amadeo.
And I'm Benedict Prodan.
And for today, we have a very special guest. We have the Secretary of Justice, Mr. Menardo Guevarra, to be interviewed about his background and what his stance is about the current issues in the Philippines. So, sir, let's start. So, where did
Good
you
afternoon.
study? Yeah.
Good afternoon, Benedict. Good afternoon, Jasper.
Good afternoon, sir.
Afternoon, sir.
I'm happy to be here in your program. Kayo pala ay mga kababayan ko rin. At least si Benedict. I don't know si Jasper ay kung tubong ikawayan. But I'm happy to be with you. And with your followers sa inyong program. Okay, sure.
Sige, Jazz.
Hi. Thank you, sir. Really thank you that you made it here today. And so let me ask you. So, you studied in Kawayan for your high school, for your elementary and high school days. Is that correct, sir?
I think nagkakaroon ng konting delay si sir.
Hello, sir. Technical difficulties pa.
Yes, I was born and raised in Mekawayan. And hindi ko iniwan. Naputol ako.
Medyo nag-break up siya.
Hello po, sir. Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. I
Ah,
don't know whether you can hear me.
yes po, sir. We can hear you po. Pero medyo napuputo lang po ng konti.
Okay, so
And
about you were asking about my educational background. So, yung grade school ko sa St. Mary's sa Mekawayan. Ang
okay
high
po.
school ko, oo, dyan sa Mekawayan Institute, na ang tawag ngayon ay Mekawayan College.
Okay.
Ang college ko naman
Apo.
ay sa Ateneo de Manila. At ang aking masteral studies ay sa UP Diliman. At ang aking law studies ay sa Ateneo de Manila.
Thank you for that, sir. So, can you tell me, since you studied in Ateneo for most of your years, so what was it like being an Atenean?
Naman yan, sa ibang universities. Kaya lamang ay siyempre, I would say na mas mataas ang kanilang, generally speaking, mas mataas ang kanilang academic standards at ang distinctive sa Ateneo Education, if I may say, kasi run by the Society of Jesus yan eh. It's a Catholic school, not an ordinary Catholic school, but a Jesuit school, no? So, Society of Jesus. Kaya nakapaloob sa academic program ng Ateneo de Manila ang mga teachings and principles and values ni St. Ignatius of Loyola. So, yun lang naman. Otherwise, generally speaking, kapareho lang yan ng ibang mga universities like UP, UST, Lasal. Pareho lang naman yan, doon lang sa mga minor things nagkakaiba-iba yan.
Yes, sir. Actually, dream school ko yung Ateneo. Anyway, but, well, moving on po dun sa about your law school. What made you attend law school po? Since, di ba, you're already working in, if I'm not mistaken, were you working in the World Bank already as an economist there while you were studying law? Is that correct, sir?
Jasper, I was already married and I had already one child, and I was working with the National Economic and Development Authority and later on with the Central Bank of the Philippines, now known as Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, no? As a bank economist. When I decided to resume or to go back to my original dream of taking up law. Actually, undergraduate studies no, sa Ateneo in 1974, that was during the time ng martial law. Kaya I thought na my ambition to become a lawyer ay i-defer ko muna dahil martial law time. No? Kaya it was already a few years later when I was already married, had a son, my first child, and was already working when I decided to pursue my ambition to become a lawyer. That's what after work, my work would end up maybe around 5:30 in the afternoon. I would have to rush. Law school was located and until now is located in the evening. So it was already delayed. So in 4 years, full load while I was in Kawayan, every night I commuted
Wow.
to my family. And would have to wake up early the following day because I had work to attend to. So if you would see, it was a passion, it was a burning ambition that prompted me to study full-time while working full-time at the same time. So, mahirap yon kung hindi ka talaga dedicated doon sa gusto mong mangyari sa buhay mo. That is rather difficult to do. But if I did it, many young guys like you could also do it.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that. So, more from what you said, can we ask you, since Benedict and I are also aspiring lawyers, can we ask you what are the best advice or what is the best advice that you can give for people who would like to pursue law school or would want to take a legal career?
Ang mind mo to finish law, don't even bother to enroll. Okay? Kasi if you take up law, kailangan talaga ang full time and attention. Not necessarily na hindi ka dapat magkaroon ng family or dapat magkaroon ng trabaho, ay ibig ko lang sabihin, dapat nakafocus ka talaga. So kung wala ka ng ganung klaseng passion, ay medyo mahirap kasi kailangan ng absolute attention, kailangan ng focus on what you are studying. Otherwise, kung parang basa ka lang ng basa without absorbing what you're reading, masasayang lang yan. Pagdating ng time na mag-exam ka na, pagdating ng bar exams, at hindi mo naman talaga inabsorb, may hirapan ka to pass the bar exams. Because the bar exams, ang sabi nila, pinakamahirap sa lahat ng exams for professionals. Kaya nga masyadong malaki ang binibigay na attention sa bar exams because reputedly, siya yung pinakamahirap. Kaya kung mag-take ka, kung gusto mo, sa day 1 pa lang, unang araw pa lang ng pagpasok mo, sa kung pa-banjing-banjing lang ang gagawin mo, huwag mo nang ituloy. Kasi baka sayang lang ang iyong pag-aaral.
Hello, sir. Are you still there po?
Ayan. So sir, let's talk about naman sir yung your career in public service. So you were appointed as the DOJ secretary back then. So what was the feeling when you were appointed in this kind of position, sir?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, oo. May gap eh. May gap kaya hinihintay ko muna na mag-react. Backtrack doon sa aking professional career. Bago kasi ako naging lawyer, as I mentioned earlier, I was working as an economist, staff economist sa NEDA. And okay, so I work with the BSP. Kaya ang initial work experience ko ay sa government. Pero when I passed the bar exams, I immediately went to private practice with Ponce and Ville law offices. No? And then a few years later, together with some other lawyers there, we formed our own law firm. And one of my partners was Executive Secretary Salvador Medjaldea. So during the time ni President Noynoy Aquino, they got me already as Deputy Executive Secretary for Legal Affairs because the Executive Secretary then ay class A na taga Bulacan din, taga Pulilan. So kinuha niya ako to help him out sa Office of the President. Ngayon, nung manalo naman si President Duterte sa Sumunod Hill, abogado ako ni President Duterte. I'm one of his many lawyers. So, kilala ko ng Presidente. So, ang naging position ko naman doon ay Senior Deputy Executive Secretary. Kaya lamang, So happy na ako doon eh. Kaya lamang nung magkaroon ng problema sa Department of Justice at nawala yung then Secretary Vitaliano Aguirre, ay bigla akong pinull out from Malacanang ni President Duterte at ako ang inappoint niya na Secretary of Justice. Sabi ko sa inyo kanina, medyo na-surprise ako dun. Kasi unang-una, hindi ko naman hinihingi yung position na yon. Pangalawa, happy na ako as Senior Deputy Executive Secretary. Kasi gusto ko yung mga trabaho na tahimik lamang, hindi controversial, wala sa limelight. Kaya nung i-offer sa akin yung position ng Secretary of Justice, tinanggihan ko yan. I declined it. Patuloy akong tumatanggi. Kaya nung hanggang ngayon ay nandun pa rin ako sa Department of Justice. At nakasanayan ko na yung mga trabaho doon at nasanay na rin ako na magkaroon ng mga controversial issues na may involve.
Hello, sir. Sir, so being appointed in a public position where there is so much attention, so what was the greatest challenge that you encountered, as a public servant, especially now that you are in a very much tough position po?
Yeah. I'm done. I'm listening.
Sir, repeat ko lang yung question. So what was the greatest challenge that you encountered, sir, as a public
Excuse me.
servant,
Yung
especially
trabaho ng
now that you're in a tough
Secretary of
position po?
Justice, no? Yung kanyang core functions ay by itself is a very, very particularized na yeah. Okay. It's hard to say kung ano yung greatest challenge. Because yung miss is by itself a huge challenge. One na parang most challenging because the entire job is very challenging. Let me explain that. Ano ba ang trabaho ng Secretary of Justice? First of all, ang Secretary of Justice natin is also the Attorney General. Okay? Sa US, ang tawag sa Secretary of Justice ay Attorney General. So dito sa atin, as Attorney General, ang Secretary of Justice ang principal law officer of the government. So lahat ng legal questions ng government ay ibinabato sa Secretary of Justice. Halimbawa, pagbibigay ng legal opinions. So pag mayroong legal issue or legal question ang isang government agency, ang hihingan niya ng payo ay ang Secretary of Justice acting as Attorney General ng Philippine government. That's one. Ang isang second major trabaho ng Secretary of Justice ay yung pagsusupervise sa National Prosecution Service. O ano yung National Prosecution Service? Yan yung mga prosecutors natin, tinatawag nating fiscals. No? Sila yung nagko-conduct ng preliminary investigation pagka mayroong mga criminal complaints. Halimbawa, mayroong tao na may complaint for estafa, may complaint for attempted murder, may complaint for rape, etc., etc. So, bago yan makarating sa court, ay iimbestigahan muna yan ng ating mga prosecutors to determine kung may probable cause. So, yung buong system na yan, yung buong service na yan ng National Prosecution ay under the supervision ng Secretary Justice. O pangatlo, ang Secretary supervision over the following agencies. Tingnan niyo kung gaano kalawak ang trabaho ng Secretary of Justice. Investigation, corrections, sa Board of Pardons and Public Attorney's Office, Office of the Government Corporate Counsel, PCGG, Presidential Commission on Good Governance, and even the Land Registration Authority, yung mga Register of Deeds. Lahat yan ay under the supervision of the Secretary of Justice. Pagkatapos bibigyan pa paminsan-minsan ang Secretary of Justice ng mga special mandates. Halimbawa, yung Witness Protection Program directly under the Secretary of Justice yan. Yung Interagency Committee on Human Trafficking or EJKs, sa DOJ din yan. Human rights violations, sa DOJ din yan. Ngayon, anti-corruption in the entire government. Ipinatrabaho rin. So, ano ang greatest challenge sa akin ay kung paano ko magawa lahat yung trabahong yan efficiently.
Oh, yes, sir. Super loaded po yung responsibilities niyo as DOJ Secretary. So, sir, okay, since nabanggit niyo na yung, the gravity of the being a DOJ Secretary or the Secretary of Justice. So now, let's move on to some pressing issues in the country. So when it comes to, the current situation and the reason why we're also having this online interview at the moment, it's because of the COVID-19 pandemic. So can we ask you, how can you uphold the justice system during these times of struggles when people are already experiencing, a lot of injustices? We see a lot of killings that's happening. There's also a lot of parang nare-red tag rin po ng mga citizens. So how do you combat this po as the DOJ Secretary?
Jasper. So, alam niyo, kaya mayroong pandemic or not, ganun ang trabaho ng Department of Justice. Ang principal function niya is to administer criminal justice. So kaya nga yung prosecution service, yung investigation service ay under the Department of Justice, no? So kahit merong COVID o walang taho ng Department of Justice, walang pinagkaiba yan. Ngayon, ako nga ay nagtataka rin na during this time ng pandemic na maraming nawala ng trabaho, maraming naghihirap, ay nag-expect ako somehow na baka magkaroon ng deterioration ng ating peace and order. Siyempre, pag nagugutom ang mga tao, yung iba mag-iisip na gumawa ng di tama. Pero quite fortunately, no, at ito ay pinapasalamat ko sa ating Panginoon na kahit na ganitong sitwasyon natin ngayon na maraming naghihirap, ay hindi naman tumataas ang crime rate in the Philippines. Okay, so na wag dumating yung time na magkakaroon ng breakdown in law and order. Sana ay itong ating Panginoon ay maiwasan natin in our country. So yung ibang issues, so forth and so on, those are really more political than legal, no? Sexual complaints being filed with the Department of Justice, ay ganyan lang yan talaga, batuhan lang yan ang akusasyon. So it's really more a political issue than a legal one. Unless talagang may mag-file ng complaint for libel, for some other offense na may kinalaman dyan sa red tagging, yun namang sa anti-terrorism law ay malapit ng decision, well, not really decisionan, kung hindi magkakaroon na ng hearing next week dyan sa anti-terrorism law. So, makikita natin kung ano magiging decision ng Supreme Court dyan. Kasi kailangang implement din natin ang anti-terrorism law para yung mga talagang terrorista, yun naman ang target niyan eh. Para yung mga terrorist ay masugpo natin. Hindi naman tinatarget niyan ang mga kabataan, ang mga aktivista, and so forth and so on. Ang talagang target niyan ay yung mga terorista na maaaring halimbawa mag-iwan ng bomba sa LRT natin. O kaya ay ano nangyari doon sa mangyari. Kaya nagkaroon ng anti-terrorism. Na baka matungo ito sa abuse. Merong mga petitions na pinahal sa Supreme Court. At yan ay malaki. So, yun.
Sir, do you think po doon sa ano, since nabanggit nyo na yan tungkol sa anti-terrorism law, do you think that there was somehow na-preempt masyado yung mga tao na nagkaroon ng misconception doon sa batas na yon? Na because of that misconception, naging pangit na yung ideya ng anti-terrorism law, which is, sabi nyo nga, is good naman talaga.
Alam mo, Benedict, napakaganda ng tanong mo na yan. Kasi ang nangyari nga sa atin, na-shift yung focus. Sa halip na parang tignan natin kung ano ang value nitong anti-terrorism law, na-focus yung attention natin doon sa mga possible abuses. No? So, tama rin naman yon. Tama rin naman na pangalagaan natin ang ating civil and political rights. Kaya nga mga petitions. Biro mo yun, 37 petitions against the anti-terrorism law. Pero, pare-pareho lang sila ng ina-allege na baka merong possible abuse because of this provision, and so forth and so on. Pero kung titingnan natin, bawal na yun eh. Nasa Supreme Court na yun.
Hello, sir.
Hindi na ako dapat na magkukomento on the merits kung constitutional ba or unconstitutional. Ang gusto ko lang sabihin, medyo wala sa focus yung anti-terrorism law discussion. Yun lang. Hello?
Okay, sir, thank you very much po dun sa, your statement regarding anti-terrorism law. Let's jump po dun sa another issue that is very much recent, which is the dismissal of Senator Coco Pimentel's case, which occurred last year when he somehow allegedly broke a health protocol during the COVID-19 pandemic. So can you please elaborate on why the DOJ dismissed this case against the senator?
Do you still see me? Kasi nawala kayo. Nawala kayo sa screen.
Hello po, sir. Hello, sir. Narinig niyo po ba kami ngayon?
Hello?
Hello po, sir. Hi, sir.
I
Narinig
lost
niyo po?
you. Wala kayong image sa screen.
Same with us din po. Nawala ka rin.
Hello?
Hello po, sir. Hello, sir. po, sir. Are you there?
Hello?
Hello, sir. Hello, sir. Are you there po?
Nawala na kayo.
Can you hear us po, sir?
We'll be back for a while as we fix some of the technical issues here in our live.
May- you have the privilege of the people who blame at some point they have the privilege to actually think they have the privilege of time, the resources to think, to read, to hear the news about political discussions.
So you're saying, Jasper, that somehow, but not in the full extent, being politically aware or being politically involved in some things is a luxury.
At some point, yes, it becomes a luxury, di ba? Where do we get
Okay. Paano,
where do
paano
we
siya
get
naging luxury? Kasi
Yeah.
parang ang bigat kasi ng statement na yun eh. So
yeah,
parang
true.
sinabi mo na, pag sinabi mong luxury kasi pangmayaman lang talaga ang maging politically involved. Pangmayaman lang ang maging politically aware.
I'm not saying it's pangmayaman. It probably it's not. But there's a certain privilege that comes with having the resources to read about it. Because if you think about it, one, you have the time.
Okay, that is what you said earlier. Kasi nga,
sabi
mga
ko.
Pilipino, nagtatrabaho yan, pagod na. So that's time. Okay,
Yeah,
time.
they have the time. Second is they have the resources. Where do we read political,
Political statements.
political statements? Not only that, where do we anchor our political arguments? From textbooks. From, these are, you can't actually have a proper political stance without having even the slightest information. And where does this information come from? Most of the time they come from institutional, states like
Yes.
the churches, school.
At saka syempre, para magkaroon ka ng
Media.
information, kailangan mo magbasa. And like what you said earlier, kung magbabasa ka syempre, kailangan mo ng oras. Ang bottom
It's
line
not
na
just
is walang
time.
oras yung tao.
It's not just time as well, you know. But if you're going to read about political stuff, it's going to be loaded with political jargons, and you know, to properly understand.
Okay,
Diba?
yung mga di mo naiintindihan na words, yung
Yeah,
mga
of
vocabulary.
course. Yeah.
Na, okay,
Yeah,
like
diba?
politics, state, government.
The word, you know, deep words, you know, de facto, de jure.
Yeah.
And we're back, everyone. Thank you for that very short break. And now we will be continuing our live interview with Secretary Menardo Guevarra.
So, as Benedict was asking a while ago, sir, he was asking about the dismissal of the case against Senator Coco Pimentel because he allegedly he was charged with breaking the you know the quarantine guidelines. So what is it that pushed the dismissal of his case, sir?
Alam mo, Jasper, I would rather not comment on that question. Ano. Kasi yung finding na yan, yung resolution na yan ng prosecutors, no, ng investigating prosecutors, subject to an appeal. May possibility na yung resolution na yan na for the dismissal of the appeal to the Secretary of Justice by the complainant. No? So it will be improper for me to comment kasi baka pag nag-comment ako, ma-prejudge ko yung possible appeal to my office. Ang nag-resolve niyan ay ang state prosecutors ng DOJ. Pero ang kanilang resolution ay subject to magko-comment dahil baka ma-prejudge ko or ma-preempt ko yung possible appeal. So I hope you understand.
Okay, sir. Thank you po. So let's move on to another question since let's talk about the recent police killing. So can I ask you po, since you were part dun po sa binigay niyong resume, you were part of a committee in extralegal killings. Can I ask po, what's the difference between extralegal killings and extrajudicial killings?
Alam mo, Jasper, ano yan parang used interchangeably, no? Yung extrajudicial killings, extralegal killings, ay parang more or less the same naman ang tinutumbok yan. Pero technically speaking, pag sinabi nating extrajudicial killings under that administrative order na way back I think in 2012, pag tinutukoy natin EJK, ang ibig sabihin niyan, yung mga napapatay because of certain advocacies. Halimbawa, labor leaders, media personalities, o kaya student activists, o kaya ay mga certain groups or certain persons na mayroong advocacy, halimbawa sa agrarian reform o kaya sa indigenous peoples. So yung mga ganong klaseng persons or groups na may political advocacies, pagka mayroong napatay sa kanila na parang, parang tipong murder or something like that, parang political killing, yun ang tinatawag na extrajudicial killing or EJK. Pero yung mga napapatay sa ordinary crimes, halimbawa, napatay sa isang drug operations, alright? Or napatay sa isang riot, hindi covered dyan ng extrajudicial killing kasi wala namang any advocacy involved. Ordinary crime lang yan. Kaya hindi tinatawag na EJK yan. Kahit summary killing, halimbawa, merong atraso yung tao na ito, meron siyang ginawang kagaguhan or kalokohan or crime, and then ginantihan siya ng kanyang naapi o ng nabiktima niya. Ginantihan siya, dinukot siya, dinala siya sa isang lugar, tapos pinatay siya doon. Sa halip na kasuhan siya, sa halip na idemanda siya, dinukot na lang siya at pinatay siya. Summary killing, hindi EJK yon. Kasi walang kinalaman yon sa any advocacy. Ordinary crime lang yon. Kaya yon ay hindi iniimbestigahan noong Interagency Committee on EJKs na hinahandle ng Department of Justice. Yung mga ganong klaseng ordinary crimes, mga summary killings like that, sa piskalya pumupunta yon, sa mga prosecutors, hindi dyan sa EJK committee. So I hope you get the difference there.
Okay. Yep. Opo, nakuha ko po.
So again sir, parang may somehow misconception din doon sa kanina, misconception about the anti-terrorism law. And ngayon naman is parang misconception din sa definition ng EJK, no?
Yeah. Totoo yan, Benedict. Maraming misconceptions yan. And I do not want to dwell on kung sino ang responsible for misimpressions like that. Pero ang reality ay ganun talaga. Hindi naman lahat ng summary killing ay matatawag na extra or EJK in the UN, in the United Nations sense, or in the political sense. Okay? So, may difference yun.
Sir, another question po, no? Since we are already in the part or in the phase na there are already vaccines coming out from different pharmaceutical manufacturers, there was this article that was released by Washington Post. It stated that there is a black market for illegal coronavirus vaccines that is thriving in the Philippines. What can you comment regarding this article po? Is this somehow true po? Since we have been hearing some rumors regarding illegal vaccines coming in the Philippines.
Benedict, that is precisely the subject of an ongoing investigation. About 3 weeks or almost a month earlier, I issued an order, a department order to the National Bureau of Investigation to investigate itong mga allegations or mga, I wouldn't know kung rumors ito, no? Pero if you remember, there was this Filipino Chinese lady na si Teresita Angsi, who's active in civic affairs, na siya mismo yung nagsabi na napakaraming nandito sa Pilipinas ang secretly ay nagpapa-vaccinate ng vaccines na hindi pa naman approved or hindi pa registered sa ating Food and Drug Administration. Tapos nasabi pa na pati yung Presidential Security Group, no, ng presidente ay admittedly parang nagpa-vaccinate na rin. Kaya nagkalagay na baka meron nga mga nakapasok na sa atin ng mga vaccines for COVID-19 kahit hindi pa aprobado or hindi pa registered sa ating FDA. Kaya maaaring totoo yan. Kaya yan ang iniimbestigahan ng NBI. Ba nang galing yan? Sino ba ang nagpasok niyan sa Pilipinas? Paano ba nakapasok yan? Dumaan ba yan sa ating sa customs territory or customs areas natin? Or yan ba ay may nagpadala na some government office somewhere abroad? Or yan ba ay bit-bit ng mga businessmen na nag-travel abroad at pagdating dito ay pinamimigay, pinamumudmod o pinabibili. At sino ang nagpa-administer, sino nag-i-inject niyang mga vaccines na yan na hindi pa rehistrado. Iimbestigahan ng National Bureau, isisi yung mga tao na gusto magpabaksin. Buhay nila ang nakataya dyan pwedeng gawin para maisalba ang kanilang sariling. Maintindihan naman natin yun. Tutupad. Para sa kabutihan natin, examine muna yan ng ating sa taong bayan na sige po, safe na po yan, nagamitin nyo, pwede na po kayong magpabakuna. Yun ang inihintay natin, Benedict.
To add lang din po, sir, sa question, since you touched po din sa Presidential Security Group na they were, in your words po, admittedly, they have taken the vaccine. So, you said po kanina, the DOJ secretary is the person or like, it's the part of the government that government agencies ask for when it comes to legalities po ng action. So, were you asked po by the Presidential Security Group about the legality of taking the vaccine despite it not yet being approved by the FDA po?
No, Jasper. Hindi naman kami nakonsulta by anyone regarding that matter.
So is it? Can I ask po? Is it since a lot of claims have been taken on that issue po? Is it legal po ba or is it illegal in the truest sense po of the word? Yung administering the vaccine.
Alam mo, Jasper, mahirap magsabi kung ang isang bagay ay legal or illegal hanggat hindi mo nakukuha lahat ang facts. Merong isang given fact, pero baka meron pang related facts na hindi mo alam. Kaya mahirap mag-conclude, mahirap magsabi na something, a certain act is legal or illegal unless and until you have the complete information, all the facts, the relevant facts before you. Kaya yan ay maasisiyasat ng National Bureau of Investigation. At kung yung report na yon ay wala pa naman sa aking mesa, hindi pa naman nagre-report sa akin ng NBI prematurely ng isang conclusion, kailangan kumpleto ang facts before you. Kamukha ng sa kaso ni Dasera. Okay? Dapat, bago ka mag-conclude kung merong bang crime na nakomit dyan sa case ni Dasera, lahat ng ebidensya, lahat ng medical records, lahat ng forensic findings, lahat ng testimonies ng mga tao na nandoon sa lugar na yon ay dapat nasa harapan mo bago ka gumawa ng conclusion na may nangyaring rape with homicide. Okay? Or bago mag-conclude na ang isang tao ay dinroga bago siya ni-rape, bago siya namatay, and so forth and so on. Mahirap gumawa ng mga conclusions like that kung hindi kompleto ang ebidensya before you. It's not safe, it's not prudent, it's premature to make judgments kung wala kang complete information before you.
Okay po, sir. Thank you po. So, more on another question rin po, sir. This is about PhilHealth po. So currently, you're
Okay na?
yes po, sir. Okay na po dun sa about yung issue about sa pag-take ng vaccine ng PSG group po. So move on po tayo sa next issue na I would like to ask, or we would like to ask you po. It's about PhilHealth po, the current yung question po about sa PhilHealth, yung allegedly stolen 15 billion from the funds. You're one of the people heading this investigation rin po ba? Is that correct po, sir?
The DOJ headed the investigation. No? Nagkaroon ng task force, PhilHealth, ordered by the President to be created, and the Department of Justice led that task force. No? I presided over the task force PhilHealth investigation. At dyan sa matter about yung mga funds na sinasabi na nawala unlawfully ay nakapag-submit na ng report sa Presidente ng Task Force PhilHealth. Meron kami mga recommendations kung sino ang dapat kasuhan at as a matter of fact ay several complaints have already been filed before the Office of the Ombudsman. Naka-file na yon sa kanila. Yung may kinalaman doon sa IRM, yung interim reimbursement mechanism, yun ang mga naunang na-file. Merong mga nakasuhan ng mga taga-head office, merong nakasuhan na taga-region 1, meron pa mga kaso na parang nag-invento ng fictitious person na hindi naman pasyente pero nag-claim ng pala allegedly ay mga taga-PhilHealth din and so forth and so on. So yung mga ganyang klaseng kaso na-file na namin sa file napakalawak ng alleged anomalies and irregularities sa PhilHealth. Kaya patuloy pa rin ang investigation dyan ng special investigating teams composed of personnel from the NBI, from the PACC or the Presidential Anti-Corruption Commission, from the AMLC or the Anti-Money Laundering Council. Mga ano yan, hindi lang isang agency, pati COA kasama, pati mga prosecutors kasama dyan. So ano yan, team effort yan sa pag-iimbestiga ng PhilHealth kasi complicated at kumbaga malalim yung mga sinasabing anomalya sa PhilHealth.
Yes, sir. Okay po. So, since you've, ayun po. So, is there a chance po ba if it was found true na there was actually funds na nanakaw po sa PhilHealth, if it was proven true, is there a chance po na maibabalik yung nanakaw na funds po?
That's difficult to answer, ha? Kung may babalik pa yung nawala na. Yun yung nanakawan eh. Nanakawan lang. Halimbawa, sa bahay, ganyan. nahuli mo, yung magnanakaw, nakasuhan mo, na-convict, may babalik pa kaya niya yung pera? Hindi na natin masasagot yun kung kaya pang ibalik. Okay? Pero kung meron siyang civil liability under our penal laws, halimbawa, ang isang tao ay na-convict for a criminal offense at meron siyang obligasyon to return the money. Alright. So, kung hindi niya maibalik yung pera, well, pwedeng yung ari-arian niya ang maring ipanagot doon, i-attach yun ng court, for execution purposes. So kung meron kang ari-arian, di yun ang mananagot sa civil liability. So whether or not yung mga nakasuhan ay may kakayahang ibalik yung kanilang kinuha unlawfully, or meron silang ari-arian na pwedeng panagot, halimbawa, kamukha ng isang tax case, hindi ka nagbayad ng proper tax, wala kang cash, pero meron kang ari-arian, yung ari-arian mo ang mananagot doon sa iyong civil liability. So, ganoon din yan sa criminal prosecution for doon sa mga anomalies sa anti-graft and corrupt practices sa PhilHealth.
So there's a chance po, sir, na hindi na po maibalik yung allegedly 15 billion na nanakaw. Yeah,
well, ang sabi naman ng ating bagong PhilHealth president ay hindi naman daw nawawala, Yun ang sabi ni Chief Guevarra, dating NBIN, sabi niya na liquidate naman daw at hindi naman talaga nawawala yung pera. So we don't know exactly kung anong basihan, kung yan bang tinutukoy na nawala, ayun din yung pera na sinasabi ni PhilHealth President Guevarra na liquidate naman. Are we talking about the same thing? I am not in a position to think. So let's see kung anong lilitaw pag yan ay Hello?
Hello, sir.
Hello?
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
I think pwede naman tayo sir, dumako dun sa mga questions na itatanong ng mga audience. Is that okay, sir?
How much time do we have? Isang oras na tayo. Time do we have?
I think, sir, mga 10 minutes, sir.
Okay, konti na lang po, sir. Sorry po.
Go ahead. Alam niyo, kahit Sabado, kahit Linggo, nagtatrabaho pa rin ako eh. Ang dami, sabi ko kanina, ang dami trabaho ng Secretary of Justice, hindi ba? Kaya kahit Sabado at Linggo, ang dami akong uwing trabaho.
Ayun, sir. Ito yung mga tanong, sir. Sir, given the nature of your position, sabi ni Mr. na isang audience, given the nature of your position, how do you maintain your neutrality and impartiality amongst many political parties and agendas?
Well, alam mo, yan nasa moral character na ng isang tao yan eh. Kung ikaw naman ay may prinsipyo at ang iyong attitude ay sa tama ka lang lagi, doon lang sa masusuportahan ng evidence, doon ka lang lagi, hindi ka magkakamali. Kahit na maraming pressures from this sector, that sector, from that politician or this politician, this person with a complaint or this person na siyang respondent in a complaint. So maraming ganyang pressures bearing upon the Secretary of Justice and upon the department as a whole. But as long as you maintain an attitude do what is right. At kung ano lang yung masusuportahan ng ebidensya at meritorious, ay hindi ka mag-aalala na magkakamali ka. Kasi pagka may pinapatulan ka na pressures na parang gagawin mo na yung something na kahit tingin mo ay hindi tama o hindi masusuportahan ng ebidensya, hindi ka makakatulog ng mahimbing pagka ganun. Lagi kang mag-aalala. Kaya nasa personality siguro yon ng tao.
Okay.
Kung siya ay madaling ma-persuade ng kung ano-anong pressures or kaya niyang pangatawanan kung ano sa tingin niya na tama. I think that is what is most important.
Okay, sir. Next question po. Sir, you talk about the civil liability po nung pagdating dun sa kung makarecover pa ba yung funds na somehow nanakaw dun sa PhilHealth. Can that particular idea or principle ng civil liability magamit din dun sa mga convicted na politicians na ng graft and corruption? May babalik din kaya yung mga parang nanakaw nila, sir?
Possible
Organisang
yan,
outfit.
kasi kasi kung mapapatunayan talaga na mayroon silang violation ng anti-graft and corrupt practices law, ay pwedeng mauwi yan sa forfeiture ng kanilang assets, no? Yung kumbaga mapapatunayan na kaya nagkaroon ng unexplained wealth yan yung district engineer na yan ay dahil sa corruption na ginawa niya. So kung yon ay mapapatunayan na siya ay guilty, ay po pwedeng i-forfeit ng government ang kanyang mga properties, no? Recovery or forfeiture ng kanyang assets na parang fruits of a crime. Kaya ang ginagawa rin yun, no? Yung forfeiture ng civil assets side by side with a conviction for violation ng Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act.
Okay, sir. This question will be coming from me, sir. Last
Mr.
year,
Who?
sir, you were nominated for Associate Justice in the Supreme Court. And as we all know, last December, we all know that Chief Justice Josado Peralta is about to retire this coming birthday. Are you still open to being nominated to the Supreme Court? Since March is already there, sir.
Alam nyo, nakakataba ng puso yung mga ganyang klaseng tanong At in fact, marami nga akong mga kaibigan at kakilala na suggest sa akin, no, na manominate or kung po pwede raw manominate ako dyan sa Supreme Court, no, even sa Chief Justice position. Pero alam nyo, bagamat yan ay isang pangarap na kahit sinong abogado ay siguro pinapanalangin na mangyari, ang mahalaga sa akin kasi ngayon, Benedict, ay kung saan ako higit na may maitutulong sa ating pamahalaan, sa ating mga tao. So, nasa gitna tayo ng isang napakatinding crisis, itong pandemic na ito, no? So, napakarami nating kailangan gawin. So, ang aking batayan dyan ay kung saan ako higit na makakatulong sa ating bayan, yun ang gagawin kong decision. So kung higit ako makakatulong bilang Secretary of Justice, I will stay with the Department of Justice. Kung sa akin namang pag-mumuni-muni ay hindi, makakatulong ka rin naman sa bayan kahit nasa Supreme Court ka, kahit na mga cases lang doon ang pagbibigyan mo ng attention, ay makakatulong ka pa rin naman, consider ko rin naman yon. Oo, so it's a matter of really weighing kung saan ka higit na makakatulong sa bayan. Yun na lang muna ang isasagot ko.
Sige, sir. Intervene ka namin, sir, ulit sa March.
Face to face na, sir. We'll go to you.
Yes. I think that's it, sir. Thank you very much for your time. And I think that ends our night interview with Secretary Menardo Guevarra of the Department of Justice. Thank you for watching.
My pleasure, Benedict. And
Thank you, sir.
Jasper, maraming salamat for giving me
Bye,
this
talaga.
opportunity. And my warm regards to your followers.
Well, Buzz9 is one of the once. Hi, I'm Benedict Rodon,
And I am Jasper Amadeo.
and this
Is Buzzline. This currently hasn't been this.
yes, it is not.
And so, as Buzzline, we present you with our latest conversations to talk about politics,
Church,
religion,
health,
psychology, and other insignificant or significant things that you may find interesting. And so, again, this is Buzzline Conversation. You know, you have the privilege of the, people who blame at some point, they have the privilege to actually think, they have the privilege of time, the resources to think, to read, to hear the news about, political discussions.
So you're saying, Jasper, that somehow, but not in the full extent, being politically aware or being politically involved in some things is a luxury.
At some point, yes, it becomes a luxury, di ba? Where do we get,
Okay. Paano,
where do
paano
we
siya
get,
naging luxury? Kasi
Yeah.
parang ang bigat kasi ng statement na yun eh. So
yeah,
parang
true.
sinabi mo na, pag sinabi mong luxury kasi pangmayaman lang talaga ang maging politically involved. Pangmayaman lang ang maging politically aware.
I'm not saying it's pangmayaman, it probably it's not, but there's a certain privilege that comes with, having the resources to read about it. Kasi if you think about it, one, you have the time.
Okay, that is
Yeah.
what you said earlier.
Yeah,
kasi
yeah,
yung
sabi
mga
ko.
Pilipino, nagtatrabaho yan, pagod na. So that's time. Okay,
Yeah,
time.
they have the time. Second is they have the resources. Where do we read political,
Political statements.
political statements? Not only that, where do we anchor our political arguments? From textbooks. From, these are, you can't actually have a proper political stance without having even the slightest information. And where does this information come from? Most of the time they come from institutional, states, like
Yes.
the churches, school.
And tsaka syempre, para magkaroon ka ng
Media.
information, kailangan mo magbasa. And like what you said earlier, kung magbabasa ka syempre, kailangan mo ng oras. And ang bottom
It's
line
not
niya
just
is walang
time.
oras yung tao.
It's not just time as well, But if you're going to read about political stuff, it's going to be loaded with political jargons and, to properly understand.
Okay,
Diba?
yung mga di mo naiintindihan na words, yung mga
Yeah, of course.
vocabulary.
Yeah.
Na, okay,
Yeah,
like
diba?
politics, state, government.
The word, deep words, de facto, de jure.
Yeah.